more than 50% of our population is women. The other thing that I did point out is that going forward, we need to look at some areas that are of concern, and a more recent area of concern is teenage pregnancies or young girls, particularly the statistics that we've been reading or seeing during this COVID period tells us that there's a lot of malpractice that is going on, and we are now seeing children having children, which becomes very disturbing. And the fundamental question I put, and we all know, is that how does the child become vulnerable to these evil minds? The child becomes vulnerable because somewhere along the line, safety was lacking, security was lacking. So at the end of it all, we need to have people who can help us understand psychologically and even in terms of what can be done in terms of preventive measures to make sure that our children are safe and they cannot be molested. And therefore security becomes a pillar. Our country is definitely allocating a lot of resources to security, and we have seen some good moves where during this regime, the docket of defense and the docket of foreign affairs has primarily been in the hands of the women of Kenya as the ministers. But what I wanted to emphasize is that now I would like to encourage our legislators to encourage those who scrutinize budgets that hypothetically, if you give the Ministry of Interior or the Ministry of Defense or one of the other security agencies 200 billion as a budgetary figure, for example, we go away clapping and saying that the security department has been given a lot of resources. I would now like to say that with the women bringing out WISE and beginning to highlight the need for women in security to be given more prominence and their concerns, their detail, the stickler to the detail. Perhaps it's only the woman who can pick the needle out of a haystack. Men may have a lot of problems looking for that needle. Have you even seen a situation where when you hold a needle here and you tell the man to put the thread in that, it becomes a headache, a nightmare. So all I'm trying to say is that in the budgets, if you can then scrutinize the budgets so that we don't just celebrate the global figure allocated for security, but we start looking at the finer details and to what extent do the specific provisions now enhance the security of our women. And that is why I really stand here to applaud WISE, because through WISE, I believe that detail will start emerging in due course and improvements will come in. You will look at, perhaps I'm not a security expert, but you may want to define things that might be hard security and those that may be soft security. If something were to come to my mind when I talk of soft security, I just say now there's a new challenge. Pregnancies. Young girls getting pregnant. They're out there. What was missing when this young girl got pregnant? What is the fundamental issue that was missing around this girl for her to get pregnant? My take is that it is security. Lack of security must have gotten this girl into the dilemma of the visitation of this person who is reckless and does not care about the child. So one of the fundamental questions is, what can be done? How can you, as ladies around security and safety, think around such things and figure out what can be done beyond the normal to make sure that our children, our daughters are secure and there's some safety? It may not be 100%, but can we make it 90%, away from 30%, so that the teenage pregnancies can be eliminated? We must break away from a situation where a child is having a child. So can security, thought through from the prism of a woman, help in cracking some of these kind of things?